All right, I want to put it into the recording real quick. This may not be the greatest place for it, but one reminder that I believe next Monday is the last day to drop this class. I'm kind of preaching to the choir right now. But just in case people are looking at the recording, if you've had enough of this and don't want to finish, I've got way too many projects still in the loop. Most of you are pretty well caught up. There is an opportunity yet to drop, but I'm pretty sure it's Monday or Tuesday. Don't stretch it any further than that. Over the break, I did a little bit of test. I wanted to demonstrate to you what happens when you use the different arrows. So I modified my code so that whenever I click on one of these, it changes the color of this to red. And then when I come back, I can see if it's still red or if it's blue or what's happened to it. So I'm going to go to Programming Logic Intermediate. There it is. Now I can go back either with this, or this. I'm going to start with a button because I was a little leery after I got done. When I click on the OK button, does it do that refresh on creates? No. The OK button sends back the signal that I'm done, the finish signal, which then on the main course is caught by the on activity complete or whatever that method was. So this comes back and it's still red. So if I had changed my array in any way, it would still be there because the activity is not recreated, going back and forth using the OK button. If I go back with this arrow, the note said this does not do an onCreate. Does not, it's still red. But notice the credits is 4 even though I sent mobile. And I'll show you why in a second. I'll show you the code. We actually had to make a change. Click on this. It went back, but it didn't change this to 3. It's because when Reen was helping me, we looked at it, we changed the code. This, what we've discovered, is when you click on an OK button and we called finish, it finished. When you click this button, it causes a finish. And we had code inside a finish that said change the credits. I'm not sure that was necessarily what I want. When I hit the back button, I want to say cancel, get me back where I was before. The one thing to seriously consider, though, is this little guy up here. Please. This little guy. John was asking in the last recording, he said, I didn't get one of those. You might be lucky. I don't think I like that one. Because when you click that, and if you make it available to your user, it basically says that this app, relaunch it. That previous screen, do an onCreate. I don't think you want that there. Somebody accidentally clicks it, and it puts everything back the way it was. Now, if you save everything as you go, which is what most apps do, it's not that big a deal. But if this arrow here takes me back without doing any damage, I don't think I want that other arrow there. So the change that we made to the code was very minor. I took out my finish routine completely. The one I told you to write, I got that from your book. And the book says you need to finish routine, then you can put some code in the finish. Okay. I got that from the book. I completely removed it, almost commented it out. And I put all my code that says update the number of credits and send it back in onClick. So if you click the button, it does the stuff and finishes. If you click the little back arrow, it doesn't do the stuff, but it finishes. So notice this finish, we overrode it so we could define our own what happens when we finish. But I didn't want that on the arrow. So I need to change my code. Whether you put it here or there, doesn't matter. Here's the command that says, we're done. Send all this good stuff back to the main activity and let it process it. So that was a little different than I expected it to be. But again, what we discovered is that the OK button goes back, no onCreate. And because I have a finish command in the code, it finishes. That's why it goes back. This causes a finish automatically. If you override finish, you can change what this does. I'm not sure I like that. To me, this is more a cancel button. Changed my mind. I made some changes. Nah, cancel, go back to where I was, no changes. This one, I'd leave it out. At least right now. Because what it does is it goes back, does an on create, which starts over, which in our case is the last thing we want to happen because it keeps changing, it keeps refreshing the array. So now I'm not worried about your homework assignment. As long as you don't have one of these beasts and you're just doing it okay, your array should never be recreated until you relaunch the app. You could even remember most of these apps on my iPhone, apps are there for days and months sometimes, I swear. If they're not replaced in memory, nothing changes. And so you could use this as a Christmas list as long as you don't lose it in memory in the next 20 some odd days, you'll be okay. Since you're writing such a great program. I'm sure it's very valuable to you. All right, a couple more concepts and we'll be done. I want to also find my Word document. Here's my browser. I also want to show you how to launch some of the built-in apps, particularly the browser, and then also the map. In order to demonstrate that, and let's just go over it real quick, really not too hard. We use the URI class that's built in to parse a website address. This parses it, turns it into a URI class, and then we can use that in a new intent that has this different kind of action. It doesn't launch another activity, it does an action view. And then the cool thing is this action view is very generic. Based on what's in here, your phone will go, what do I have that can handle this? Oh, it's got a URI in it. That must be the browser. And it automatically launch the browser, automatically send this address to it and go there. Automatically. Here, I'm sending it an address. Even though it's a URI, it looks inside and say, oh, it's a geographical address. I have a MapQuest or Google Maps program. I'm going to send it to that, and it'll take you to Google Maps. So really very simple. To get those other apps to launch, you just have to send the request to them in the right way, and this is why I'm not showing you how to get to the contacts, because I don't know how to do that. But I'm sure you could look it up, and it wouldn't be terribly difficult. So just to demonstrate this, what I'm going to do is go into my second screen, my details screen, and I'm going to add a second button. And I'm just going to change the name of the button and change its text to test URL and call it BT test. And this one I'll cheat and do the on click. I call it cheating. And we'll call a method that says show website. Now that method doesn't get created automatically. That's kind of like why I like the other one. I create a listener and it generates my method for me. It's always called on click. Here I have a little more flexibility. So now I'm going to the code for the second screen. I'm going to define that method. Just put it at the bottom. Public void show website. We must pass this a view. Now we're linked to that button. So inside here, again, I hid my notes, so I just want to slide them over. I want to define a URI. That is an I, not an L. I define a URI, have it parse my website name, and then create an intent, and we can name the intent whatever we want. And then we still have to do the show. So we don't expect any information back from a website. So we would do the show activity, I think it's called, right? Or start activity, I forget which one it is. Put extra start activity with the intent name. Okay. So let's see if we can get that working. In here, I want to define a URI. And we'll call it website. It's going to be equal to a URI parse of HTTP. You got to have that in there. www.volkergall.com, because the chances of my emulator going there pretty slim by accident. And then put that into an intent. It's a new intent, very much like the others, except we do an action view in here, intent.actionView. And looks like we're going to do a fair amount of typing, action_view, comma, do an action, launch something based on whatever's in this website. What's your problem? Nothing. Okay. Can it be that simple? Let's find out. So this is from the second view, so I need to shift to the second view just by clicking on something. And then I should have two buttons. And I didn't even have to define a page with a website? No. In the, I think it's chapter 33, I forget the numbers already, in the chapter 33 project, you'll actually define your own web viewer, just for grins. And what happens if there's two programs on your phone that can view the web? Then a list shows up. So I got two that'll handle this. Which one do you want? Do you want the browser, or do you want this one that you built? And you'll demonstrate how to do that. In my case, I don't have to do anything. When I say test the URL, off it goes, hopefully connecting to the internet and showing me what? Okay, it's worked on mine at home. I know I have a web address. I don't have to. That's what launching this activity with ActionView does. www.volkergall.com/mstc http://URI. It should, but the one at home does automatically. He's asking if my emulator has access to the web. It's a logical question. Let's just force it to go to the web if I can. Nope, now I can't get to those buttons again. Yes, they have web access. Error level error. I don't see the error, so I'm going to try to run it again. I don't know if this is a fresh version or not. Yeah, it must be because I was in the browser. I think it's my on-click listener. Whenever I do it that way, it never quite works. This show website view. So I'm going to do it the hard way, or the easy way. Text view is internal.
Yeah, you take time, click off, dude.
already have an on-click listener to this. Ah. Just demonstrating, so I'm going to take that out and see if this works. Show website.
Oh, site is that lowercase s or?
Lowercase show. I don't know if I had the right code. Yes. That would cause the problem. Now I wonder if it's going to get confused because I have two.
Yep.
There we go. Notice how hard it was to launch the browser. All I had to do is give it a URL. So that worked pretty well, finally. Now that was well for the browser. Now let's do one with the geo address in it. And I'm going to have to copy here, so I'll leave it up on the screen so that you can copy as well. I've given you an example that you can steal from, so if you wanted to have somebody type in their address and take them to Google Maps and see what it looks like, they can. It's still a URI, let's call it my location, and it's equal to a URI.parse. And here's where things get interesting, GEO:0,0. So that's a geographical location. If I didn't have a mapping program on my phone, it would probably take me to Google Maps on the web. Question mark. Look familiar from your web addresses? Maybe not yet, where you're sending in parameters as you go. You might not have seen that yet, but the question mark says, here's more information. The Q, whatever that means, is equal to, and I'm going to use 1001. Instead of spaces, you must put plus signs. Center point plus drive, comma. I don't know if that comma is even necessary. Stevens Point, comma, Wisconsin. So the only thing tricky here, except for this fun stuff here, the only real tricky stuff is the Q equals, and then here is putting plus signs wherever you would normally put spaces in a string. Actually, this is exactly the same. Except I gave it a different name. And still start the activity. So with any luck, this should take me to the map program. And I don't think this is a browser. It's hard to tell, but I don't think this is, oh no. It's going to make me log in. That's how I know it's not a browser. Sign in, okay.
Just skip at the top.
Can you just skip it and it'll
I
go
think
there?
so.
Too late. Grief. I think it's even got me in the right room. That's pretty good. It could be 218, right? Yeah, not too far. Could be lucky too. Because all I said is take me to Center Point Drive, so chances of it getting the right room pretty slim. But it got me there. Without a whole lot of effort. So you can imagine a few fun things you could do with that, a couple apps you could create. The one that's still sitting in the back of my mind is the app on my phone that every time I catch a fish, I hit the button and it marks my location and said and date and time, and if I was really stupid, it hook into the weather and what with barometric pressure, and then if it's not the right day and it's not the right weather and it's not the right barometric pressure, why am I fishing? That would be fun, except I catch a lot of fish. And I don't care if I'm catching fish. I'm going fishing anyways. All right. That was more information than you need for Unit 8. That's why half of you tune me out, because you know it's not for Unit 8. You don't need to connect your birthday program. There's no addresses in them, right? But imagine an address book where you click and it takes you to that address. Many of them already do it anyways. But very simple. Simplify it. And it takes you there. And now I'm in Google Maps, and since I'm in Google Maps, I could do location and say, take me there and have it talk to me, because I didn't write that app. I just linked my app to it. And then here, if I had the other button, I should be able to go back to my other program. And if it was a list, pick somebody else's list. So lots of cool things that are easy to do. You guys are so lucky. I haven't said that in a while. Questions about Unit 8? Again, forget this part. The Unit 8, the key part, is transferred from the main screen to the second screen, come back and update data. For as long as the program is running, maybe if we're lucky in Unit 9, we'll be able to save it permanently so that any changes you make to your list of Christmas gifts or birthdays can be permanently changed on your device. And then that might be, if it's a birthday list one for sure, excuse me, might actually be a usable app that you could put on your phone and keep track of all your family's birthdays. And then as time goes on, the app will grow and grow, because that's what they do. Enough. What I didn't do is talk about the due dates for those programs. I'm sure you can see them in your grade book, but this one is due this Sunday. This one's due the following Sunday, and this is going to be the last chapter exercise I have you do. It's 33. I don't think there's, hesitate on that. If there is one on XML in the book, I'll have to look. If there's one on XML, I might have you do that. This is likely to be the last one you do, and that's due a week from Sunday. And then this multi-activity, remember I was mean and I gave you Unit 7 due on Friday of after Thanksgiving. And again, I'll be flexible. That one's due the following Friday, which is like the 4th, something like that. And then Unit 9 will be due the last day of class.